You ready?
Yeah, sure. And I'm just looking at you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just talking.
Okay.
We're just a couple of people here talking.
All right.
Hello, I am Brother Kelly Hughes, Chaplain of the Arts. We are broadcasting live to tape from the Valiant Theatre in the heart of Winnipeg's Greasy Tenderloin. We are broadcasting on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on the radio, you're listening on 101.5 UMFM. Saturdays, 1 p.m. This is Kelly Hughes Live Slices. Thank you so much for stopping by. I am happy that you are here, and I'm happy that you're here. Thank you for stopping by, Nicky, Mehta,
My
my
pleasure.
guest. Thank you
It's been a while.
for getting here. You're a little bit late.
I'm a little bit late.
You found the parking. We sorted out where you
Yes,
come in.
yes.
Are you like? Do you get anxious about like when you have to go to like a new place or a new
Yes.
thing? Yeah,
I do.
yeah. Is it because you live with anxiety?
Yes.
I was
Intense anxiety.
well. I was thinking about this. I mean, I am like when I've got jobs, when I've got jobs because I move people. If you don't know, that's one of the things that I do. And if I'm going to do something for somebody that I know, I'm more relaxed because I know how it's going to go. Because I know them, I know, it's fine. Unless it's somebody that's a pain in the ass that I know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but like when it's somebody new, I just kind of like sometimes I go through my head like all the things that they might say and how I would respond. And sometimes I need that, and sometimes I just don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, and I really appreciate people that are chill. Because when somebody brings their own anxiety to your anxiety party, it's bad.
Yeah, it is bad. I'm usually, even though I have pretty intense anxiety, I'm usually pretty good with one-on-one. Well, actually, I'm pretty good with people, all told.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole creating a script kind of thing in your head, I do that too sometimes. Depends on who I'm with, but yeah,
Now, you've been playing music for a long time.
I have.
Some people would say you're a musician, and probably most people. How long have you been playing out?
That is a good question. Probably like close to 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did the Wailin Jenny start?
We are about to celebrate our 24th
Wow.
anniversary in January. Yeah, I know.
That's so long.
It is really long.
Do you ever think about stuff like that, like milestones, and you think like, well, how old does that make me? And then you're like, well, that can't be right.
No, exactly.
I'm like 33. I'm like young.
Yeah.
No, it's very kind of like I saw my old prof from U of W on the street, and I don't know, probably haven't even seen him since then, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did the math, and it's like 35 years, and I'm like, that's the thing that old people say.
Yeah.
That's not right.
I don't identify with my age at all. And I've started, in some ways, I feel like I've started like just not not thinking of it in my head, and I've never really been into birthdays.
Yeah.
So it's easy for me to just forget.
Yeah.
Which I think is good, honestly, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not ashamed of it, but
No, but it's I don't know. It is. I don't love birthdays either. They're kind of arbitrary, and also like I had a lot of like disappointing birthdays, and at some point I was just like, you know what, forget it. I'm not doing.
Same.
Like when I was like, I don't know, when I was 5, we had a party and Sandra Schwetz threw up and ruined it, and then
Sandra
Schwetz, yeah,
always.
and
Sandra.
then we And then one year, I don't know, I guess the next year or year after that, we had my birthday at the. Do you remember the McDonald's caboose on Pembina?
Vaguely.
So, McDonald's had a caboose on Pembina that was like an old train caboose, and you could have your birthday party in there and stuff. And I remember crying the whole time, and I don't really know what happened.
That's not good.
No, and one of the things I've been looking into recently is ADHD, which is autism and ADHD,
Yes.
which in up until 2013 you couldn't be diagnosed with both, but now there's kind of a small but growing movement afoot to like to have it recognized as like one thing.
Yes, absolutely. I
Because
think the percentage of the coexisting disorders is pretty high, actually. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's just yeah, this some of the things are so interesting. The need to have everything kind of organized and the same, but also then you're seeking novelty, right? And you want things so these things that kind of really
Oppose each
are
other.
I mean they are living in you at the same time, which can make for a very sort of chaotic life, or chaotic thoughts anyway.
Well, and there's this very specific anxiety that goes along with autism. We're a very neurodivergent household, so I know a lot. I know a fair bit about it, but yeah, they're at odds with each other. But just the interesting thing about anxiety is that, especially if you've been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, that the anxiety that goes with autism is very different. And so to know the difference between those two things, I think, is really important. Yeah, and there's also a lot of misdiagnosis that goes along with autism too. Odd ADHD as well.
Well, and one of the things is, what do they say? They call it high masking. So there's a lot of people. I mean, it's of course, easy to identify. Kids with like, I don't know even what you want to call it. Well, let's say like sort of, a kid who's got not communicative in the same way.
Yeah.
Who's got autism. I mean, that on that kind of end of things.
Yeah, nonverbal. Yeah.
That's easy to identify.
Yes. Yeah.
But then the people that spend their whole time trying to fit in and trying to not be noticed as being not like everybody else, those people don't get diagnosed, or they don't get diagnosed until a lot later because they're trying to hide it, or they get misdiagnosed.
Yes.
Like I was diagnosed as bipolar, which I think is not right. Certainly none of the medication worked for me, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. But the more I look into ADHD, the more I feel like that must be me.
Yeah.
Because all those things, all the sensory things, the lights are too bright, the sounds are too loud, something stinks, everything smells.
Yeah.
You don't like the way something feels, or you don't like the way. You remember those the Dixie cups, and they had the little wooden spoon. And they're like tongue depressors.
Yes.
And now they've brought the friggin' wooden spoons back because of
really?
because of the plastic. Yeah.
Right.
So I actually this morning I was in the Burger King drive-through, and I got like breakfast sandwiches, and then I'm like, you know what? It's only 8 a.m, but I really want a Hershey Sundae pie. So I get a Hershey Sundae pie, but it comes with one of those wooden spoons, and I'm like trying to get it off without touching it. But all those sensory things are interesting, because I've had that my whole life, and I always thought it was just weird. I just thought I was just weird.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that it was sort of, it's for a person who's on the autism spectrum, it's more of a feature than a bug.
Yep.
I mean, it's part of the whole.
Well, it's part
thing.
of what throws you off mentally and emotionally, is just having to deal with that. Yeah.
And so, everybody in their lives needs to find different ways to cope with things, and so I mean, I carry plastic straws around with me in my car, in case I get a drink and they've got a paper straw, because I have the same problem with paper straw.
Yeah.
Or, like whatever else it is, you know, Andy, my partner Andy is, I think also kind of somewhat the same way. So like, I got to put everything in the calendar. If I don't put it in the calendar, and then I say, oh, hey, I'm going to do this thing, there's a lot of anxiety and drama around, the things are changing, or even sometimes, often in the morning, I'll say, these are the things I'm going to do today.
Yep.
So then everybody knows what's happening today. So, I mean, knowing yourself and knowing how your brain works helps to just kind of come up with a plan.
Yeah, well, because
for your life.
I mean, there's very specific things that go along with neurodivergence that, is finding those accommodations yourself, and then hopefully being in an environment, work environment or school environment where those accommodations can be met. Because it's like trying to put a neurodivergent person in a neurotypical world is just it's absolutely so stressful and demoralizing for a person who's neurodivergent. Yeah.
Well, and I think we've set the world up in a certain way, and I guess it works for some people, but I feel like there's a whole lot of people that it doesn't work for, whether you're neurodivergent or whether you're, I mean, yesterday, 2 days ago, we had 8 tents in the park here. We've had people living there for months. I don't know if you saw my little video, but there was a fire yesterday.
Oh no.
And somebody burned down one of the tents. And so the police, and we're not in St. Boniface, but St. Boniface Street Links rents the building next to us. They kind of do a sober living thing. So the police and Street Links were in the park, and they, I guess I saw them taking somebody somewhere. So I guess they found some housing for at least somebody. And then they just had a big truck and they just hauled all the stuff away.
Boy.
And there had already been 2 fires in the park, and it's kind of right, outside my bedroom window. So I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit sort of conflicted in that I feel like everybody needs a place to sleep. But on the other hand, I was starting to get worried that, my garage was going to blow up, or, you know what I mean? But all those folks, and we're right in the core here, and there's a huge encampment just down the street here. So all those people, for whatever reasons, myriad reasons, they don't fit in with the way that we've set things up. And I mean, a lot of those people have mental health stuff too, and whatever, and of course trauma and all those things. And so I feel like we leave a lot of people behind, whoever they are, and we sort of, and when I say we, I guess I just mean society at large. Like it seems like we don't care. It seems like we're very like, and every time I don't know, I'll see like a Tesla Cybertruck driving around, and I mean, it makes me think of Elon Musk. So, and also they're ugly, and so there's no, I don't like them. But I mean, what are they, 160,000, or I don't know how much they are, but they're a lot of money. And then I just think like, so this is what was important to that person, and that's kind of disappointing, that there's I'm not, who knows, maybe that person's doing all kinds of wonderful things, but I know that, okay, who are we kidding? They're not. But
I mean, I don't like to make blanket judgments, but Cybertrucks, I mean, at the very least, they have a terrible
taste.
Yeah.
And I wonder with those, like, is it like having one of those stupid stainless steel fridge? Like it must be covered in fingerprints, right?
Oh, yes.
You have one of those fridges, like just covered in fingerprints.
Yeah. And apparently the panels fall off too. So I don't know. That's just not a wise vehicle choice.
Yeah.
No, no matter how you look at it. Yep.
One of the things that I've seen you talk about a lot, speaking of things that people don't care about, is Gaza. So, and that's a thing that I think I have seen a few people talk about it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
like you, and I can think of a few other people that I know, and people posting things and going to the rallies and talking about it and doing whatever kind of thing. But um, I mean, is Gaza a thing that people haven't really cared about?
Yeah. Yep. Largely. I mean, and I came to it late. I mean, there are plenty of people that have been talking about, fighting for Palestinians for decades,
Hmm.
So I feel a little sheepish having come to it so late. But my focus, my activist focus, has been more local than
Hmm.
that. So, but I think once you see it, you can't unsee it. And I also think that, in and of itself, it's important. Like the main purpose of it is to draw attention to it and to somehow help, to stop it, to donate, and but to me, a really important thing is that it's sort of, to me, it's the litmus test. If you can't support that and showcase it and help in some way, just get the word out or whatever.
Hmm.
I don't think people realize that that is all going to come back to us. The defying of international law is is problematic for the entire world, because it's not as if it's the worst atrocity out there. Absolutely not. Sudan is much worse.
Yeah.
But no other population of people who are being genocided have been documenting their own genocide. And there's no excuse for not having seen at least some of it.
Well,
So,
and uh, I guess one of the other big problems with it is that for Americans and Canadians, Israel is an ally.
mhm,
So a lot of these other uh, places like Sudan, I mean, we're not allied with anybody down there,
no.
and so that is uh, one of the reasons I think it's so why it's so bad. Um, but also, like, it's so hard to say anything about. Everybody knows what's coming next. It's hard to say anything about this, the state of Israel or the government of Israel or what they're doing without being called anti-Semitic, like
Mhm,
just instantly.
mhm,
And it's such a tricky thing because, of course, uh, anti-Semitism is real, and I mean, it's a thing that Jewish folks have had to deal with a long time, and uh, but it's just like, I mean, have you had anybody call you anti-Semitic?
not to my face. I mean, I suspect that there are people who are unhappy with the fact that I've spoken out as much as I have. Um, but yeah, nobody to my face. And I have, well, first of all, the not equating Judaism with Zionism is an important thing. And people will have their opinion about that as well. I'm never going to be able to please everybody. I know what I believe, I know what I see, and I have to speak out on it. That's my personal opinion, and I do it for myself. Or well, I don't do it for. I mean, it is important to be in congruence with your own values. There are so many pieces to this puzzle that way. But I have so many Jewish people in my life. I always have. My best friend's Jewish, our US agent is Jewish, our guitarist is Jewish, lots of older friends. And I would say that the majority of them are speaking out against this,
Yeah.
and so they're my compass to a
Mhm.
lot of degrees. Also the Palestinian community.
Mhm.
I look to them actually mainly to know what is allyship and what is important in this fight. But it's very important to me that my Jewish kin, my friends are, that they understand my position. And as far as I'm concerned, if that sits right with me, I don't really care about the rest of it. I really, ever since this was brought to light, because it lifts a veil in so many different ways, ever since that became clear to me, I've cared a lot less about what people think of me, which is, I think, a good thing. I mean, on a personal level, on a sort of a selfish level, because that's not the most important thing. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, my band we're one of the few, I would say, the few folk acts that are speaking out about it, which to me is like, we're folk musicians. We're
Yeah.
supposed to talk about this stuff. It's
Yeah.
been disappointing, but I mean, you put yourself at risk, and we put ourselves at risk in a lot of ways. We're not heroes or anything. It's just that's the state of affairs these days. We're waiting for a work visa to go to the States. We tour
Oh,
almost exclusively in the States these
yeah.
days. So we have a work visa that's hung up, and it could be hung up for so many different reasons
Yeah.
right now. But we've spoken out against that administration,
Yeah.
and other issues.
Yeah.
So you become a target, but I'd rather do that than kind of know what I should be doing and have to fight with that internally. That's worse. That's
Yeah.
worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, you have to be authentic, because I mean, at the end of the day, who are you play acting for? So you might as well be yourself.
Yeah.
Now, you've got kids. How old are your kids?
They are 16 years old, twin boys.
Twin boys, 16 years old.
Yeah.
So you had them when you were about 8 years into Wailin Jenny's?
Yeah. 8 years in, that's true. Yes. My math is terrible.
Well, that's why we've got calculators and computers.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I was at the store the other day, and the cashier, she was a young woman, and she had to count out. I guess she had done something. I'd given her unexpected change,
Yeah.
and it was the change was very obviously $1.
Yeah.
It was a loonie, and she had the hardest time. It was just like she was shorting out.
Yeah.
Do you think that? I mean, obviously, when you have kids, I mean, that has, especially when they're younger, I guess, does that make it harder to tour? And
Well, we toured with the boys when they were from about 7 months. Well, actually, right after they were born, about 4 months after they were born, we recorded the last studio album we did, which is a million years ago. So yeah, so we were recording in Ontario at in a cottage situation, and we had another place that the boys were there with my husband for a while, and then with a friend who was helping out. So, and then at 7 months we started touring with them.
Yeah.
Which is one of those situations where I was like, that was not the brightest thing in a lot of ways, because I would nearly killed me. I mean, I was not sleeping.
Yeah.
It was the one time in our career where we actually had tour buses.
Yeah.
And it was just, we were stuck in the back, and they were, I was nursing them. And so I just wasn't sleeping. I don't even know, I was younger, you know? Yeah.
Well, you can run on fumes when you're young, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And so we toured with them till they were 2, because at that point they would have needed their own seats on planes. And then Grant, my husband, stayed home with them starting at that point. And so, I mean, but the thing is, once I had them, we started pulling back on touring, and then, Heather had her first, and then Ruth had her boy, and then Heather had another kid. So none of us, we don't tour. We used to tour internationally, and we just don't do that.
So do you think things would have, if you were all guys, would things have gone differently? Would you have ended up somewhere else? Would you be, you know what I mean?
I think it would be very different, because
Yeah.
I think men have more license to
Yeah.
leave their families
Yeah.
to go on for weeks at a time. So yeah, absolutely would have been different. But it hasn't hurt us. Every time we've gone off the road to have kids, because it was 4 times, it was always, you're at the height of your career, you can't do this, it's career suicide and all this stuff.
That's your agent?
That was various people. That was various industry people.
Career suicide.
Yeah. And it was not. I mean, we have a very dedicated following. So they stuck with us, and we've just continued to grow. So it's just, it didn't hurt us.
When was your last studio album?
Oh man, our last studio album of originals was 2011, which is just bananas.
Well, since sometimes like time just kind of flows through your fingers, and it's like
Yeah.
probably you weren't intending on it being 15 years or whatever on
Oh, no,
purpose. It just
no, no, no.
happens,
It
right?
just
I
happens.
get that.
Yeah, and I mean, we have never been a band that tours albums. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, initially when you release an album, you
Yeah.
tour it, but we've never been dependent on having new album to tour. We just tour all
Mhm.
the time.
Mhm.
And I mean, we have I don't know, it depends on how you look at it, but an embarrassingly small discography considering we're 24 years old.
Yeah.
Our last album came out in 2017. So we're about to go into the studio again. But it's just hard coordinating,
Mhm.
3 people who have kids and don't want to leave them at home all the time. And then we're all spread out across, North America, so it's also tricky that way.
Where is everybody now?
Well, Heather's American, so she's always been in the States somewhere, but
Mhm.
she's now in New Mexico, in
Mhm.
Taos, New Mexico. And then Ruth just moved out to the West Coast. I'm still in Winnipeg.
Mhm.
And so we're the key, like I mean, like Richard, Bruce's brother, has been playing with us for like 14 years, and then we have a newish guitarist. They're not as important. It's the 3 of us that have
Yeah.
to make it work. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's been tricky, but we've been able to keep a good career going despite that,
Mhm.
So
Um, and I guess really it's interesting because you're saying, you haven't had an album. Well, you said you had an album, but what was out in 2017?
that was a covers album.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um, what what album was Wildflowers on, the Tom Petty?
that was on the cover album.
Was that so? The cover album was the cover album just you, or was it a cover album of Tom Petty? Was it different artists on
It was a
that?
different artist.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
song was a different
Yeah.
artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I've,
that song out of that album was, I think, got the most traction. Like it,
yeah. I've got it. We've
Yeah.
got it in some of our playlists
Yeah.
because it's a great song. And I mean, we love Tom Petty and
Yeah.
love your version of that. What song was it? I was at something a couple of months ago, and Lloyd Peterson he was backing up someone else and then the other guy's band, but Lloyd did a Tom Petty song, and it was so good.
Yeah.
And he had he had the whole thing down. He was very, I can't think what song it is now.
He's so great.
Yeah.
I'm actually about to sing with him on Saturday. And I mean, he co-produced my album. We've been friends for a really long time. But I haven't played with him in a long time. And so we did a house concert in the summer, and we were just like rehearsing for it, and we're like, why don't we do this more often? Because we love singing together. And he's such a great songwriter. I think,
And I feel like he's spent a lot of time doing stuff for other people.
Yeah, he
and-
plays a
and-
lot with other people.
Yeah, and producing other people's.
Yeah. He's only just started getting back out there,
Yeah.
like with his
Yeah.
his solo stuff.
I've noticed
He's
that, and it's
fantastic.
good. It's
Yeah.
good 'cause
Oh yeah. He's great.
He's great, and
Yeah.
he's the nicest guy.
Oh, one of the
Yeah.
best humans I know. Yeah.
What do you think about, we're talking about albums. Everything's changed so much.
Hmm.
Of course, being being Canadian or whatever. I mean, a lot of nobody's really been making killer amounts of money from their albums anyway.
Yeah.
But now, like nobody makes any money
Yeah.
from their albums,
No.
and touring is even more important
Yes.
than it was,
Yeah.
because that's a way that you can make money,
Mhm.
and then you can sell your CDs or LPs if you're getting them printed or whatever as souvenirs when
Yes.
people are there.
Yep.
Even if they have already got it, on their phones or whatever.
If they're signed, people will buy. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, people will buy.
Well, just they want to.
Buy
They were
hard
there,
media.
right? You want
Yeah.
something. You want a T-shirt. You want to, whatever it is. But you're making your money from giving people the live music experience,
Yes.
and from seeing you and from being in the room with you, which is a boon for people who are already doing that.
Mhm.
And of course, people still are putting out music, but it's so like anybody can just put music out now.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even the access to technology and equipment and
Yep.
like even these little mics we're talking on right now, the sound is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
These are little $40 Bluetooth lavs that are hooked up to my smartphone.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, people are
No, it's
like
pretty great.
people are producing music themselves.
Yep.
And so I guess in that sense, it's more. I don't know if egalitarian is the word that I want, but it's
Mhm.
kind of, you know, people can get stuff out there without having to have a bunch of money to, you know, to pay for studio time and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
You still have to be good. It
Yeah.
still helps if you're, you know,
For sure.
if people want to listen to you, but
Yeah. I mean, it's I think it's great in a lot of ways. There are voices that we wouldn't have heard otherwise,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. I think the challenge is that there's just so much out there
yeah,
and it's hard to grab people's attention anymore.
yeah,
But I think it's ultimately a good thing, but it's true. I mean, honestly, like when we started out, we've been around long enough that when we first started out, we were selling CDs. Like streaming was not
yeah,
a thing really.
yeah,
And I mean, that's the thing that allowed us to continue going because we had the money from that and we could put that back into the band. I don't know. I would need to look into it more. I certainly know younger musicians and but the blocks to, you know, the obstacles to actually creating a career are many, you know, if you
Mhm.
don't have the money coming in. And you're right, like you have to tour. You have to tour regularly. And it's so
yeah.
it's touring and merch really are your things now. Which is hard because you know, when you were saying before, like if it were, you know, in our particular case, just talking about the fact that if it's men, you have traditionally have more freedom to be gone longer. So I mean, it's a little punitive to women
Mhm.
if we need, you know, because well,
Yeah,
postpartum stuff and all that stuff
yeah.
like maternity leave and etc. So it is more
But
challenging,
everything is
but it's
everything
doable.
is punitive to women.
Yes, you are correct. Everything
I
is.
mean, you know, not to put too fine a point on it. Um, uh, it's very interesting too. I think that another way that people really, or a big way that people really gain traction now is if they can figure out how to use social media, or if they
Mm-hmm.
are, if they are, you know, for younger people, if they are sort of native to it.
Yeah.
So, you know, somebody like Boy Golden
Mm,
or Begonia,
so
you know, I
great.
see them doing their stuff
Yeah.
all the time, and you know, that's such an important way to communicate with your audience and
Yes.
to find new people uh, and all that kind of stuff. But it's harder if you're harder to figure out if you're older, you know, and
Yeah.
if you didn't kind of grow up like that. But it's amazing to me the people that are the Haleys. They do good social media stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it just seems like um, yeah, if you're older, I just think it's a little bit harder to kind of, you know, you can't just, oh, I got to get on here, I better do something.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think that there are some older people who are okay with it. But it's like a full-time
yeah,
job in a lot of ways.
yeah,
And if you're
you're
not,
living there.
yeah, you are. And if you're not inclined to do that, it's tough because it's so true
Yeah.
that it's a really important element. And I also think that, you know, for people that like for younger artists, yeah, you've grown up on that stuff.
Mhm.
You know, and for a lot of older artists, not all, but a lot of older artists, it's just not a natural way of being, and it's not necessarily. I mean, everybody's different. Some people really get into it,
Mhm.
but I think that, you know, a lot of older musicians can see how much it's taken over and how much spending, you know, hours and hours and hours
Mhm.
online can be, you know, detrimental to your mental health. So
Yeah.
I know that there's a reluctance to constantly be online and constantly thinking about your you know, your reputation as an artist and your exposure and stuff. So it's a tricky thing.
Your audience must be a little bit older.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, we're starting to get younger, like because we've been around enough. We're getting lots of people coming up to us at concerts who are in their like, even mid-20s who grew up listening to us. Some even third generation. Like it's pretty bonkers that way. But yes, we definitely, our audience skews older. Yeah.
When did you go back out on tour after the pandemic?
We were back out in the fall of 21. So
So it was still kind of.
it was still, we had
Yeah.
to tour in a bubble. Like we had a
Yeah.
really tight bubble. It was scary. Like when we first went out, I remember being really nervous, and it was California that we were touring in. And so, that's a very comfortable state. I'm glad we started there. It was also warm, so we could, because we weren't allowed, nobody was allowed to go eat inside. There was a lot of restriction that way.
But I guess since you tour so much in the States, the restrictions would be so different from state to state.
Yeah, I mean, we said, like, we had the demand that people in the audience were masked, and we got pushback for that. One of our gigs got canceled. We went into Monterey for a show, and Monterey was not a masked town, and so they let us know very, like, shortly before the show.
Yeah.
And we had to get them to let their audience know that they had to mask, and people were not happy about it. And we had a lot of fans who were like, "Why are you got this? COVID is like just spewing all this stuff that COVID wasn't real, or that the vaccines didn't work, and that we had an agenda." It was crazy. It was the sort of feedback we got sometimes was just bananas.
All those people were all the RFK Jr. people that voted for Trump. Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting time because you really found out what people were like. It was this time, like I must have blocked so many people on social media. Because I really found out who was just people who did not share my values, let's say. And it was, it wasn't just, I mean, it turned into the whole freedom convoy thing, which I had a friend who was in, I guess she died 2 years ago now, but she was in liver failure during COVID the whole time. And if she had needed to go to ICU, there would not have been any room because ICU was full of people who were not getting vaccinated and then who were getting really sick and ending up in ICU. So I had a run-in with the Freedom Convoy, and I got so mad. And I'm yelling at them, and no, it was just this whole.
I get it.
It was this whole thing, nobody likes wearing a mask. Nobody liked the stuff. It's not that those of us who were, trying to do those things liked it.
No,
we just were,
citizens
trying to care and trying to care about, other people, old people with autoimmune stuff, people that are,
that's exactly
like my friend who was
Yeah.
like my friend who was dying. Like we, even when you really couldn't see people, we would sit in here. And for those of you who don't know where we are, we're sitting in a church, this church that we're turning into the Valiant Theater, and it's, church sized. But we would sit and we'd have a couch over here and then a couch way over there. And we'd sit like, 15 feet away from each other. Because we didn't know she was really sick, and we didn't know when she was going to go. And that was, I feel bad for the people who had people die during COVID and couldn't even go to the funeral and stuff.
It's hard to believe. I mean, that we went through that, and I think that was the the start of the real polarization of people.
One of the reasons why I wanted to do this show is because I in the last few years I've decided that I want to spend my time and my energy with people that are good people, with people that I like, with people that are doing good things, and one of the sort of conceits of the show is talking to people who, want to take their little corner of the world and make it better. Because I feel like there's so many things to be depressed about and to be discouraged. I mean, I used to listen to Democracy Now! All the time because, it's very, if you want the news, that's, they've got the news. But I listened to it the other day for about 20 minutes and I was like, oh my God, I had to turn it off. I was like, I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
And so, so many things to be bummed out about. And I really think that, I really want to talk to and celebrate and let people know about the people that are trying to make things a little bit better. Because I feel like if we all did that, things would get better.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, aside from the people that are actively trying to make it worse, there are just lots of people who just aren't doing anything.
Yeah. And I think like that sense of overwhelm, and I certainly feel it, I go through that a fair bit, and it's a matter of balancing how much you're exposing yourself to. I probably have a bigger stomach for it than I think most of the people I know, and I'm not even sure why that is. But in my opinion,
maybe it's because you toured with 7-month-old twins.
It could be, and I've thrown myself through the ringer many times. But I think that actually action is the thing that combats that feeling of overwhelm and hopelessness. Is that if you feel, at least, even if it feels sometimes like it's, you're shouting into a void, it's still acting. And I think that's the antidote to hopelessness,
Yeah.
So, there's a little bit of a selfish level that way, that I'm thinking of myself. But I think that's okay. I think we all need to do what we need to do for ourselves.
It's fine. No, but it's fine. But even if you're like, I would like the world to be a little bit better because I live in it.
Yeah, sure. That's totally fine. You know what? And I think also, like, this is not exclusive to people who have kids, but I think that when I think of what's going on in the States right now, for instance, and I think about, and there's so many aspects of this, but when I think about the fact that, for instance, supply chains, like what's going to happen to the supply chains? There's stuff going on during COVID, but there are real dangers to that with, things that are happening in the States, because those affect us. Tariffs, but also the worsening economy there. If they throw us into a major recession in the world, then one of my kids is pretty severely asthmatic.
Yeah.
And I think about medications that we need, and that enrages me. It enrages me. First of all, it enrages me that there are a handful of people that are basically ruining this earth and ruining billions of people's lives, and so when I think of that, and I think of my own child, like, I see red on such a level that motivates me a lot too. That's what stops me from kind of sinking into despair. It's like, I don't have that luxury to do that. I'm personally feel like I can't do that for my kids, and personally I can't allow that to happen for other children and other people, but really the vulnerable communities and stuff like that. And it's, I don't know. That's just what I feel compelled to do. I'm not here to tell everybody else what they should do. I try to avoid any kind of thing that's sort of self-righteous, and people are going to interpret it that way if they're going to. But yeah, that's where I'm coming from with that. It's just something that I feel compelled to do. So,
but I think you can tell the difference between somebody who's talking about what's right and doing what's right. You can tell the difference between them and what I call a brocialist. Those guys that are kind of they say all the right things, and they know the talking points, and they're going to tell everybody else what to do, and so I think that I don't think anybody thinks that that's you. And if somebody doesn't like what you're saying, I guess that's more about them.
I was just going to say that the people that are going to call you know-it-all or self-righteous are often people that are not doing anything and feel guilty about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to project that onto people who are doing things about it or trying to do things about it. But the other aspect of that is that, my social media, like I speak out regularly about not just Gaza, but many things. But I've had, and sometimes I feel like, why do I keep doing this? I feel like it's not going anywhere at times. But then I have the occasional friend or whoever that says that they really appreciate the stuff that I'm posting because it's not in mainstream news. I'm finding alternative news sources that are completely legit, alternative voices. And so that's something I feel like if I can put that out there, then at least people are aware of what's happening, And so that feels valuable to me. And I'm not, I'm putting up articles and stuff. I'm not making commentary all the time either. It's just here's the information that is valid and irrefutable, and it's going to combat the stuff that either isn't being said or is being said and is incorrect and untrue. So
Oh, and some people, you look at their social media feeds and it's just a constant stream of garbage. So yeah, I mean, it's every once in a while somebody will add me on Facebook, and I just go sure, and I don't look at their page first, and then I look and they're like, especially like around Charlie Kirk. During that whole thing, there were a couple of people that were like just posting all this stuff, and I'm like all this, like whatever, just pro Charlie Kirk, crazy bonkers Charlie Kirk stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
And even somebody who actually I was thinking about unfriending, and then she just unfriended me. I was like, okay. Somebody who is
See you later.
somebody, and a lot of these are people that I don't really know because I've
Yeah.
got 4,700 Facebook friends.
Yeah.
This was somebody that I actually did know, and she was talking about Charlie Kirk and family values and all these things that are kind of code words for worse things.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I'm happy to not be friends with her if she's gonna be a weird white supremacist, or you know what I mean, whatever the hell she's doing. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing is that sort of thing is being unveiled, particularly, I mean, before the pandemic, but particularly since the pandemic is that you're seeing people's true colors in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of commentary I was seeing after the Charlie Kirk situation.
Yeah.
Is that people were saying like, these people have just revealed themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's good, I guess. You know who's who.
Yeah,
but it
it's
is
just disappointing.
But it is interesting how people have been emboldened to say things out loud maybe they wouldn't have said before, because they can find a whole other, instead of being the only person in the room that's saying that, they can find all the people in the world who are saying the same things that they are. They can go on Twitter or Reddit or wherever the heck they are, and there's all these people that have the same bad viewpoints that they do.
Yeah.
I'm always I have a lot of artist friends, and I'm always disappointed when one of those people's like an artist or a musician, or do you know what I mean? I'm always a little bit like, really?
Yeah, you think people are supposed to be a little bit more
and for the most part, I mean, I think artists are usually pretty good about that kind of stuff because but yeah, just sometimes you're like, what are you talking about? But one interesting thing of what's been happening in the last couple of years is the rise of the conspiracy theorist, and how that has kind of you look at the I don't even think we've said his name, the current administration in the States.
Yeah.
It's this coalition of not people that are ideologically the same, but people that have different kind of bones to pick with different weird conspiracy things or different disturbing, upsetting things that they want to see happen.
Yeah.
And that's how they ended up with RFK Jr. and all the anti-vaxxers. And, and some of those, conspiracy theories. Did you hear the one? Oh, she's a Candace Owen or something.
Oh, yeah.
And she was saying that Emmanuel Macron's wife was trans. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh,
and
jeez.
they had to sue her. Like, I mean,
Uh,
just I guess you just need a new thing to get people to listen to you.
yeah.
And it's just, crazier and crazier. But some people just seem to eat that up. I'm always like, forget the conspiracy about, um, uh, this, whatever forget this conspiracy or that conspiracy. What about the actual conspiracies with the billionaires,
Yeah.
doing this I mean, there's some real ones.
Yeah.
We don't need to like make
No.
ones up about, children being trafficked in the basement of the pizza place in
Yeah.
Washington or whatever. I mean, there's actual
Yes.
things. So
The actually legit
if you want
things.
one, there's real ones.
Yeah. I think one of the problems of what's going on is that no one knows what's true anymore.
Yeah.
It's just there's a real loss of there being any kind of reality to anything.
Well, AI.
Yeah.
AI
That's
has made
disturbing.
it so much worse, and I've noticed that in the
Yeah.
last, like, not very long. I see people that should know better.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who's a friend of mine, an older guy in BC who's an actor, Jay Brazeau. Smart guy. He's been in a bunch of movies with De Niro and, all kinds of, he's always the third banana, but he's, like a person who's been successful in his career and is not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And he's posting this AI slop all the time. And it's these stories, like, I don't know, Willie Nelson by Ozzy's deathbed, and there's a picture, and then there's a whole story. Or like, Martin Short and so are in love, and such a, they're like, the pictures are AI, most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they use real pictures but the articles are just like fiction presented as an article that's written by AI.
Yeah.
I found one the other day that was Humphrey Bogart had done something for this the lighting guy in one of his movies. His wife died in a car crash at home when he was filming the movie. This whole thing, and I looked it up and I'm like, it was just a complete fiction. But somebody puts it up, and the only references I could find to it were all the other things that were the same story.
Yeah.
And it was all over, and but there was not even any point to it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can prove it or disprove it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a thing that's out there that's just not true, and people just don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking around. People were all like, "Oh, I love that. Such a nice story."
Yeah.
I'm very suspicious.
Yeah. Well, even something as simple and I mean, comparatively benign is people posting, fake dog and cat videos or wildlife videos. And it's it's something like I know it's minor.
Yeah.
But like
the cat protects the baby from a wolf.
Yeah. But it's upsetting in the sense that one of the most majestic and wonderful experiences is to see, for instance, like whales or whatever that inspires, something that's very, creative in us and just awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
And there's something very sad about the fact that now when you look at them, you're like, is this real?
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing.
And that comes back. We've only got 3 minutes left, but that comes back full circle to the whole thing where, we're creating this space here, where it's going to be a performance space for all kinds of people to do all kinds of things. And we're talking about how, you're still going out on tour, and I mean, when you're out in front of people, they know it's you.
Yes.
They know it's your music. They know it's unless you're Michael Bublé, they know you're not using auto-tune.
Yes.
They know you're right, and so that is really, I think that has made sort of meeting in person and being live and all that kind of stuff, I think, even more important than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Because we need that connection.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why, like, I could have done this. I could do this like sitting at a computer, and I'm here and you're here and we're side by side. But I mean, I wanted to like sit
Yeah.
here and see the whites of somebody's
Yeah.
eyes, sit on an ugly couch,
Yeah.
and like, you know, really
Yeah.
kind of, you know, feel what somebody's energy is and all that kind of stuff,
Sure.
because we need that,
Yes,
you
I
know.
agree.
And I think we haven't quite. The reason I brought the pandemic up is because I feel like we haven't quite. I don't think audiences have come back in the same way after still as they were before. I think after 2 years, people changed their habits.
Yeah.
And so I think that we really just need this connection.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, the more established AI gets, the more, hopefully the more people will turn to things like live performance and you know, yeah, because it is, I mean, as AI takes over music, I mean, AI cannot replicate live performances.
No,
So thankfully,
hopefully not.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so I feel like that, and I get that sense often from people is that they appreciated that much our live shows that much more because it is something real and tangible and, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's it. And there's lots more things I wanted to talk about too, but that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Well, thank you for asking me. I was really pleased.
Will you come by sometime again and we'll talk about
anytime.
about other things.
Yes.
We'll talk about mental health for an hour.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping by. My guest has been Nicky Mehta of the Wailin Jennies. Thank you. This has been 101.5 UMFM or YouTube, depending on where you're watching. Thank you. Let's say this together. Art will save us all. Thank you.